Well, it's 8:15. Ross King, where is he? I mean, he said to me that he would be here at 8:15 and we could have a bit of a chat, and I don't know where he is. It's crazy. Pretty catchy, isn't it? It's June, in Jersey. I'm Jason. Join me.
Cocktails on the terrace.
Well, we're here in Jersey. I just wonder if there's ever been a time, and maybe even the past couple of months, where you've had a chance to think, good grief, this all happened so quickly and over such a short space of time.
Yeah, I think I sort of, I look back on it, I guess in some sort of ways people feel as if what I've done in the business has gone in probably the wrong way about it, where you've started in a recording situation and then gone on to live work. But in fact, you know, my experience, I guess, in entertainment as a whole, as opposed to just singing, has been since I was like, you know, that sort of big. I mean, my mother, when I was, people probably wouldn't be aware, but my mother, when I was about 5 or 6, hosted a kids show called Adventure Island in Australia, which is sort of maybe a little similar to sort of some things that are on TV at the moment, orientated towards that sort of thing. But she used to sit there with a puppet that was called Samson, and I used to, because my parents are sort of married and she had to work and whatever, they used to take me out into set, and I used to sit there and watch this show be taped. And I think in some sort of ways, you know, the experience that I've slowly sort of gained, not just from my mother, but from particularly, I guess, my father, who brought me up for such a long time on his own, is my apprenticeship in some sort of way. You know, your father sort of walks down the hallway, you know, at 6 o'clock in the morning, screaming something very theatrically, you know, and I think in those sort of respects, a lot of people grow up with the notion that I want to become an actor, where I grew up with actors, you know, as opposed to deciding that's what I wanted to do with my career, acting, singing. And, you know, I know my capabilities, and I think the people around me know my capabilities, and I will never try to extend myself beyond what I think I can do.
Excuse me.
Yes, it was rather rude.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry about that. Here's another one coming up.
Ah, fine.
Any particular colour you would like this time?
I'll have the red one then.
Have the red one, right.
Yes.
I'll have what looks like the ice cream one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Very kind of you. Just put them on Mr. Donovan's bill.
Fine.
Right. A true Scotsman. To the end. How would you describe your relationship with the fans?
Well, I'm a fan. So that sort of really answers the question. I'd never forget, I mean, I've probably said this a few times, but I was really very fortunate enough by a few nice people to get the opportunity to meet Paul McCartney after one of his shows. Now, he's someone that my stepmother would have only dreamed of meeting, you know, and I never forget, you know, I was at the back of the stage, like, nervous as all hell, you know, and you're sort of ready to prance a sort of piece of paper in front of his face and say, can you sign this? But they threw me in front of him, and I actually got a photo, which was great. But I'm like everybody else, you know, and I'm sure Madonna, and I'm sure Michael Jackson, and I'm sure Stevie Wonder, and I'm sure all those artists have people that they actually look up to, and I guess it's the extent to which you class a fan to go like that and sort of be jumping up on stage and going crazy, or as opposed to someone who just sits back and watches and observes and go all a little sort of numb when they actually see the person they like. I'm probably the latter, actually. I sort of sit there and go, whoa. But I'm like everybody else, and I think everybody is fascinated by the industry on that sort of level, because you see a finished product and you never see what happens behind that product, and that's exciting, I think.
So, what was he really like then?
He's a smashing bloke, absolutely smashing. Don't believe any other stories around it all. He's a smashing bloke, really nice,
more to come,
straightforward. And lots more to come, yes, exactly.
In concert. But now time for Martin Rob.
That's great, just park it down there. Don't scratch it now, it cost me a lot of money. Jersey, famous for brown cows, banks, billionaires, and of course, where's your duck? Where's your duck? it's up there at Fort Regent in St Helier where Jason Donovan starts his world tour.
Well, actually, it's his good looks. Actually, it turns you on.
He's very nice. He's pretty. And like the way he sings.
Well, I think he's a bit more than pretty. I think he's really hunky.
Jason's ace. Definitely.
I think what you see on stage is, and the great thing about the way we're doing this is that we're not, I guess in some ways we could probably go in and do bigger areas and bigger places, but for me I wanted to sort of learn the traditional way, and it's nice to be able to build things gradually. And what we've got is a group of people who work as a team, and that extends not just to what we do on stage. I guess it's, you know, before for example, we do aerobic circles, which I guess is quite hilarious for a group of musicians, including myself, although I try and keep fit. But we also do half an hour of warm-up, which I think is a good thing because it gets people together and also gives them a bit more energy and a bit more confidence, I guess, on stage.
One thing that I think will impress most people is that it is completely live. And to people who don't know the business, most of the major names nowadays do have tapes at some point, but you don't have any at all.
No, it's quite it's quite frightening, really, in some ways, because I guess in that sort of sense, if your voice goes, you're in a bit of trouble. But I really enjoy that challenge a lot. I don't think I ever wanted to tour with anything else but that. And I know in the past, I mean, your acts in the 60s and the 70s didn't have the access to the technology that we have today. And of course, I think a lot of people are tending to rely on that. I think the thing these days is it's cheaper to put things on tape, and it's easier. And for me personally, I didn't want to go about it the easy way. I wanted to try and really learn rock and roll from the bass, or not rock and roll in this case, but sort of, you know, dance music, whatever, from the crux of what it is. I'm not out to prove myself. You know, I'm not out to prove myself as a vocalist. I'm out to improve myself.
Asking for it? Are they asking for it? I don't know. Do we go back?
I guess I'm nervous and apprehensive, but I've worked with these people for a long time, and I think they've seen me on my good days and they've seen me on my bad days, and vice versa, you know. And I think you can only go out there and give it your best at what you're doing at that particular time. It's important for me to give those 1,000 people, or 2,000, or 10, or whatever, something that you don't just put on a record player and hear 50 million times. Something that's just a bit more inside you, a bit more personality, a bit more of you as a person.
Hey, thanks for coming along.
Great stuff. Watch your steps. Watch your steps.
Put it over your head. Watch the tail.
See you guys.
JD. Let's go.
More Jason Donovan next.